Hello everyone, welcome to our video. This is our presentation from group 5. This time we're gonna talk about Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono as the President of Indonesia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we start the presentation by me explaining about the history of how he became the president. In 2000, SBY began to set foot in the political world. At that time, he chose to retire earlier from the military and he was trusted to serve as the Minister of Mining and Energy during the reign of President Abdurrahman Wahid. But it didn't take a long time because after that, President Abdurrahman Wahid asked him to becoming another minister. He was trusted to become the Minister of Menko Pol Soskam. At this time, SBY began to pursue his career in the politics. In 2001, Megawati replaced President Abdurrahman Wahid, and she still trusts SBY to becoming the minister in her cabinet Gotong Royong. It's just not so long because after that, SBY decided to resign from his position, and with this step, he is like more flexible in the politics and he decided to build a political party named Partai Demokrat. In 2003, Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono attended an event. It's a national deliberation of Himpunan Kawasan Industri Indonesia or HKI. He is the speaker and there are another speaker, it's Sofyan Wanandi. At that event, Sofyan asked the people that come at the event, said that, is it good if we make SBY as the president? And the people said yes, and SBY was only smiling. But after come back to Jakarta, SBY asked Sofyan, are you serious? And Sofyan said yes, and SBY said, I don't have anything. And Sofyan said, we can do it, but there are some requirements. For an example, you must have a vice president that comes from entrepreneurs. And Sofyan gives two names. The first one is Abdul Rizal Bakri, and the second one is Yusuf Kala. At that time, Abu Rizal Bakri was the chairman of Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Yusuf Kala was the coordinating minister of People's Welfare. So they make a negotiation. Sofyan helped SBY to achieve the goals. The first one is Abdul Rizal Bakri. Sofyan helped SBY to arrange the meeting, but after 3 times meeting, it looks like we cannot do it with Abdul Rizal Bakri because Abdul Rizal Bakri feels like his party Golkar more bigger than Demokrat, and with the Yusuf Kala, the first time Yusuf Kala was looked like he didn't want to be paired up with SBY because he said that SBY is the person that hard in making a decision and something and la la la. But after that, Sofyan find out that the real reason Yusuf Kala didn't want to be paired up with SBY is because actually Yusuf Kala want to be paired up with Megawati. But because Yusuf Kala also didn't make it to be paired up with Megawati, and they make a decision. Yusuf Kala paired up with SBY. And finally, the election is coming in 2004, and there are 5 pairs. But at the first round, no one won the election because no one get more than 50% votes. So here coming the second round. It is Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono with Yusuf Kala and Megawati with Hashim Muzadi. And finally, SBY and Yusuf Kala won the election with the 60.62% votes. And here coming the inauguration. It's located in MPR or DPR building in Jakarta on Tuesday, October 20, 2004. And the inauguration of SBY and Yusuf Kala is a little bit special because there are 5 head country that come to attend that event. So that's all the explanation of how SBY becoming the president.
In this part, I will explain about ideology of SBY. After the Reformation, Indonesia implemented a democratic system where the people had authority to voice their aspiration, where previously the leader had full control. In SBY administration, democracy had been implemented before, so SBY said that democracy is his ideology he adheres to, coincide with a strong economy and commitment to protect environment, which SBY said in his several speech. In addition, SBY also put Pancasila as a basic ideology. SBY said that Pancasila is using as a life guide for the people, so Pancasila is not fair and not just a dogma that not applied. In his leadership, SBY was based on Pancasila, when in Pancasila there is democratic value. So this is what SBY tried to apply in his leadership. SBY was used ideology of Pancasila and democracy as its implementation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Lady Putri Wilona will explain you about foreign policy during President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. The government cabinet of President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono is the United Indonesia Cabinet First. The cabinet was formed on October 21st, 2004, and its term of service ended on October 2009. The cabinet regulated foreign policy operation in the three national medium development plans for 2004 until 2009, which contain: first, strengthening foreign policy and optimizing Indonesia's diplomacy in the administration of foreign relations and the implementation of foreign policy. The main objective of this increase are capacity building and domestic diplomacy, and diplomacy in contributing on the process of democratization, political security, and national unity. Second, increase international cooperation aimed at optimizing opportunities in diplomacy and international cooperation, especially ASEAN, cooperation in the administration of foreign relations and the administration of foreign policy is the actualization of the submission of ASEAN as a concentric circle of the Indonesian foreign policy market, APEC, and other multilateral cooperation between countries that have interests in line with Indonesia. Third, affirmation of world peace commitment undertaken in the context of building and developing spirit of multilateralism, which is based on respect for international law, which is accepted as an acceptable method for international law subject in overcoming international security issues. Commitment to international peace is relevant to the purpose of life as a nation and state. And to paragraph 4, the opening of the 1945 Constitution, another priority is the restoration of Indonesia's image internationally. For to achieve Indonesia's national interests in the international world are carried out through diplomacy. Indonesia diplomacy carried out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs help actualize the program and priorities of the United Indonesia Cabinet, which in essence was to help realize a united, safer and more peaceful, just, democratic and prosperous Indonesia, and the implementation of Indonesia's free and active foreign policy has always been devoted to Indonesia's national interests, good firm cooperation, and with any country, the implementation of Indonesia's free and active foreign policy isn't static but always dynamic, following the changing times and national needs of the country itself. The foreign policy approach taken during the era of President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono has the following characteristic: opportunity-driven, win-win solution, constructive, rational and pragmatic, soft power and personal. Which this approach adopted, President SBY adopted a constructive foreign policy to build national and international stability by bringing the slogan of foreign policy in all directions. This means that Indonesia doesn't only side with one party. In accordance with Indonesia's foreign policy was based on the motto, "Thousand friends, zero enemy," which was elaborated on the constructive concept where opponents become friends and friends become comprehensive partner. The implementation of foreign policy in the era of President SBY was more about the development of partner in Southeast Asia, especially in ASEAN. ASEAN is the main pillar of Indonesia in the implementation of foreign policy. Indonesia has a major role in mobilizing many cooperation programs in various fields such as security, economy, and social culture. The implementation of Indonesian foreign policy toward ASEAN is very complex. It can be seen from the role of Indonesia in embracing ASEAN member countries and in maintaining the existence of ASEAN, which prioritizes the application of soft diplomacy compared to the use of hard diplomacy. Indonesia's success in embracing ASEAN member countries to solve problems through diplomacy without having to intervene between countries. The implementation of Indonesia's foreign policy also respects main norm and principle of ASEAN. So, in implementation, there will be no resistance from other countries, and Indonesia can also fight for its national interests. Thank you for your attention. Well, I'm Prisalia Andini. I want to tell you about actors that influence policymaking in the era Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. Indonesia foreign policy is aimed at protecting national interests, specifically national development plans. In the midst of the world development marked by low national interests of each country in negotiation process at bilateral, multilateral, and regional levels, it's important for Indonesia to determine its position and place and a present and clean position. The actors who influenced Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono government were: number one is ASEAN. ASEAN's strong regional cooperation require an active role in Indonesia leadership. Over the past few years, Indonesia has been internally held hostage by its domestic problem. Before 1997, for 3 decades, Indonesia had focused on economic development, strengthening friendly relations with neighbor countries and building a climate of mutual trust and cooperation in the Asian environment. However, since 1997, Indonesia has experienced drastic changes in which the sudden collapse of the economy has triggered a social upheaval and political uncertainty. With the success in holding a direct presidential election at the end of October 2004, Indonesia has success achieving a major milestone in the process of transition in the political field, in an effort to restore the national economic amid this wave of globalization. Indonesia foreign policy needs to be focused on bilateral cooperation with East Asian countries. ASEAN and plus 3 countries is Japan, South Korea, and China. East Asian community and APEC at the regional level, and certain group at the global level. Number 2 is China. China is major partner and market for Indonesia product through the supply of various raw material fields. and is an important source for the supply of its medium and small technology. President of Republic of Indonesia at the time emphasized the importance of future China relations, as reflected in his idea on the alliance of Indonesia, China, India, Singapore, and Japan. However, the idea was not shown concretely the importance of China in the foreign policy it wanted to create. In the administration President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, our cooperation with China is expected to increase with the realizations of the Declaration of Strategic Partnership between Indonesia and China. Number 3 is United States. The U.S. in President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono administration has increased with his visit to United States at May 2005. The president is preparing seriously to realize what the plan and program of his government. One of the concept program in the security sector is through an increase in the military exchange and training program. The Bush administration and Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono agreed to form the Indonesia-US Security Dialogue and Bilateral Defense Dialogue as a means of normalizing military relations between two countries. Number 4 is Australia. For Indonesia, this visit is used to explain objects such as travel warning issues by the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs is often based on summary information and does not benefit the image of Indonesia. If mutual trust between Indonesia and Australia can be improved, many fields can be development such as civil aviation, security, and social protection program. Our experience in dealing with a series of nature disasters can be discussed extensively with Australia. As a country with more advanced science and technology, Australia has a lot of capacity to cooperate with Indonesia.